Give me a second here. We'll get started. At my office, just wanted to come here and just shoot a quick video and just share with you some of the things that I've been noticing. A couple videos ago, I talked about the Lionsgate portal and here. Whoops. What's up, fam? Uh-oh. I'm on YouTube. And I don't want that to happen. And here. Oops. What's up, fam? Uh-oh. I'm just going to shut that down because I have no idea what I did there. So apologize. I'm trying to monitor Facebook while I'm on Haps, but I did that all wrong. So I'm not going to mess with that anymore. But yeah, I was talking about the Lionsgate portal and a couple videos ago. And if you didn't watch the video, the Lionsgate portal is basically a cosmic spiritual energy that came onto the planet. And it started around the end of July, and I think it goes through today, which is August 12th. And with this new cosmic energy that's hitting the planet, what's taking place is that more people are awake, more people are awakening. You won't find this information in the news, so don't go looking for it. Very few people are going to talk about it. You're not going to find it on Fox or CNN. You would have to find evidence of it just by watching the people around you, people that you interact with each and every day. And if you're observing and you're quiet about it, you'll start to see that some of them are changing. Now, some of them are still walking around, not really understanding what's going on. And that's okay, because this isn't a race to get to a certain destination. But you'll find that you have a few people in your circle that are definitely making changes. They are awakening. They're starting to question things. They're starting to understand that something is happening while they can't really put their finger on what that thing is. Well, it's the awakening. And more people are going through this process on this planet. Again, you're not going to see it televised or anything like that, but it's happening more and more and more. And I'm totally seeing it. Just in the last week, I've had a number of people that I've interacted with bring it up like something is going on. They're starting to recognize that, okay, something is moving as they're trying to figure out. One individual, I was totally shocked because I thought they were going to be asleep for another 10 years. But this is happening, and it's happening all across the globe. And I know for me personally, the last year and a half, it's been an ongoing process. There are days that I've been going through my day and I would hit a super low, not quite depression, but low enough where it's like, wow, I could recognize it. And then I've had to work bringing my energy back up. And it hasn't happened once. It hasn't happened twice. I mean, it has happened repeatedly. And the thing that you have to understand is that this process is happening for a reason. I believe that the sun is playing an integral part in this as well, because I believe that the sun is activating us, a number of us that are going through this ascension process, this awakening process. And I think that the sun is taking us through this awakening process as well by upgrading us. You may know people that are changing their diet. Okay. I know that as time moves on, I'm getting away from more and more red meat, not eating as much red meat. I'm looking to break away from chicken, eat more fish. There's some people that have just broke away from eating meat, period. Okay. And we're all dealing with this shift in different variations and in different ways, but it's happening. And if you really pay attention, you can see it, you can notice it. And the evidence, again, the evidence is shown by the people that are around you. So why is all this stuff surfacing? Why are these emotions surfacing? Well, just going through my own personal journey in this awakening period that I've been going through, what I've learned through my own experience is that for me to ascend, I have to literally throw up a lot of the things that has been holding me back, holding me hostage mentally, holding me hostage emotionally. And I have to allow that stuff to come out. No different than throwing up, no different than if you have a stomach ache or if you have a diarrhea, what has to happen? You have to get rid of it. And so, as we're going through this awakening process, this activation time, this upgrade period, the very things that are surfacing are things that we have to heal through, that we have to grow through, that we have to recognize and acknowledge and deal with it. And sometimes dealing with it is no different than looking at it for what it is and accepting it. Sometimes it may bring an uncomfortability of a feeling, and you have to feel it before you let it go. So, the number one thing that you can do for yourself is number one, don't judge it. And also, don't put yourself in a situation where you attach yourself to what you're experiencing. Understand that the process of ascension, the process of evolving, is all about bringing up the things, bringing out the things that no longer serve us so that we can let go of them as we continue with our upgrade. It's very difficult being a human being, very difficult. This is not an easy game to play. It's not. You know, when you look at what it takes to be a human being, well, first you have to deal with what? You have to deal with all of the intrusions that have happened in your life, whether voluntary or not. And what I mean by intrusions, everybody's opinion, everybody's belief, everybody's take on things. So you have all that information coming in. You have information coming in through the media, you have information coming in through the music, you have information coming in from all these different sources. And all of these things are intrusions that come into our life. So being a human being isn't easy, because in the midst of all of this happening, a lot of us lost who we truly are. It's almost as if we come to this planet to lose ourselves in order to later on find ourselves, because I feel that that's the process we're going through right now. So when you look at all that and you take that information in, and you've taken this information in from all these different points of references for decades and decades, and then one day you wake up and you say, what the F? One day you wake up and you're like, what the hell is really going on? And seeing this in that moment, you recognize that, oh, wow, I'm seeing things differently. I'm seeing things through a different lens. It's almost as if the day that you awaken, you feel like you've jumped timelines. And again, if you're paying attention to the people that you just interact with on a day-to-day basis, you'll start to notice that a few of them are making changes. A few of them are questioning things. A few of them now have different mannerisms about themselves. A few of them are now moving differently. And it's because of this awakening. And it's taking place all throughout the world, all throughout the world. I've always been an optimist when it comes to humanity. I've always believed in the ascension process. You just have to look for it in order to see it. And I started seeing it in myself at first because I started to notice that I started to feel different about a lot of things that I was brought up to believe differently about. So I started to see the change first in myself, and then I started to see it in other people. And now I'm starting to see it speed up more and more and more because people are now starting to really question, like, what the hell is really happening on this planet? So when you look at everything that we have to go through as human beings, dealing with the intrusions, dealing with the programming, dealing with the people we deal with, dealing with family, biological family. You know, we've been taught that family is everything, and I'm not saying family is not, but a lot of us were brought up to believe that the people in your family didn't have to have boundaries with them. So we just let family run over us. And now that we're going through this awakening period, now we're doing things like setting boundaries. Some people are removing themselves from their families. You know, there's so many things that are going on through this whole awakening process. So take notice of that. Take notice of how individuals are moving differently, because I believe that this ascension process, this upgrade time, this activation period that we're in, things are speeding up. More and more people are becoming awake. And you would be surprised at the number of people that are going through this very same things that you're probably going through now. You would be surprised as to the number of people that are asking the very same questions you're asking now. It's almost as if we can't escape it. Now, don't get me wrong. There's some people that it seems like they've doubled down on staying in this 3D mentality, and there's nothing wrong with that. Again, it's not a race to get to the finish line or anything like that, but it's happening really, really, really quick. Happening really quick. And so for a while, you know, because I've been meditating for a while, dealing with affirmations for a while. And so for a while, as I was going through my own yuckiness, let's just call it that, where things were surfacing that I thought, number one, I had dealt with. Number two, I'm like, why is this coming up now? Which brings my energy level down. It was in a meditation that they told me, hey, you have to deal with those things, purge those things out of your system so that you can then prepare yourself for the new energy that's coming on the planet. And I said, oh, wow. And as cool as that concept was to understand in theory, going through it is a whole different process, because we tend to pack up the unpleasant things that we don't want to deal with and do what? We put them away. Okay, we had a bad experience. Instead of dealing with it, okay, we're going to put this away. We're going to put this away. And what happens is we put away so many things within ourselves energetically. Now the awakening comes, and now you got to deal with the shit. Now you got to go and unpack all those boxes that you put away 10 years ago and have to physically look at it and then purge it out of your energy system, out of your etheric field. And that's been probably the most challenging part in this entire process for me. So if you find yourself going through that, understand it for what it is. Now, the affirmations that I work with have been a great help for me, because I'm able to have a point of reference that I can go to help bring my energy up when I feel like my energy is in the toilet. And if you've been supporting the affirmation series that I've been doing the last couple of weeks, thank you for the support. I really feel the affirmations have, it's really helped me in my life's journey. But again, understand that this shift that's taking place, that this awakening that's taking place on this planet, we're all going to have to go through some process of our own. And be gentle with yourself. Do not be judgmental of yourself, because understand that when this awakening takes place, a lot of people are like, okay, now what? Well, with me, I had to deprogram myself. So I had to examine all these belief systems that I was brought up with, and I had to examine them, and I had to ask myself one question: does this line up with who I am authentically? So you go through the deprogramming stage. Then you go through the finding yourself stage, because as you're deprogramming, then you find more of who you are. And that's kind of different, because as you are letting go of beliefs and finding yourself, there's an adjustment period. Just because you're dealing with the real you, it's still weird. Give an example. You may have had a good friend for 15 years that you talk to every day, was always at their house, this, that, and the other. You go through an awakening process and you find that your vibration frequency, because you're going through your deprogramming, is different from theirs. Now you guys don't talk as much anymore. That's an adjustment period. And that's just one example. Okay, there are plenty of others, but that's just one example of why it's not easy or simple to go through this process. And then when you find yourself, now you have to redefine what loving yourself is all about, because we all take it for granted that we love ourselves. But when you go through the awakening, you're like, okay, maybe I haven't been loving myself. We all have this, well, why wouldn't I love myself type of thing or attitude as we go through life. And then you go through this awakening period and you're like, oh, wow, maybe I have not been loving myself the way I should have been. So then you go through this loving yourself process, and then that teaches you how to love others. And then as you go through that entire thing, then you now have what? You have newfounded beliefs, newfounded belief systems, newfounded mannerisms. It's a whole new you. You're operating different. And then what does that lead to? Leads to a new way of life, a new way of living. What's fascinating to me is that human beings are now walking away from their jobs. You might know a few of them. Like, to hell with it, I'm walking away from my job because this new me is not aligned with this job that I've been on for 20 years. This new me wants to go out and pursue my passion. It's no different than me speaking to you now. This is who I am, but I ran from this for a long time, a very long time. It is now that I'm awakening to the process of, Ace, this is what you do. And I'm now awakening to the idea of just doing it. So people are walking away from their jobs. People are now living in these sprinter homes. It's fascinating. All over the world, people are now running around these mobile homes, making a living from these mobile homes, and their world is now their new address. This is the new energy and the effect that is taking place because of this new energy that's happening on this planet. And there's just so many different variations of that are happening all over the globe. And again, if we pay attention and if we observe, we'll start to see evidence of this happening. One thing that I've learned just engaging with social media, as much as they have tried to censor your truth and my truth, as much as they have tried to control the narrative, and they've done a pretty good job. One thing that I've noticed is that we are extraordinary human beings on this planet. And I mean, I have seen videos and content creators and individuals that have just been able to speak their truth. We are all so unique. We bring so much to the table, and we don't give ourselves enough credit. We don't. We are extraordinary human beings. And when we fully awaken to our greatness, it's game over, people. It is game over, because that's where we're heading. I mean, also, and I'm talking about all walks of life, all colors, genders, age, and everything in between. Like, there is there is no finish line to our greatness. There is no ending to our full potential. And I believe that as we wake up every day, we start to experience, and more of this greatness starts to unfold through us for the rest of humanity to see. And that's the one good thing that I'm seeing on social media, is people's authentic selves just coming out, and you're just like, wow, that's awesome. I mean, I've seen a lot of people just be themselves and be comfortable in their own skin. And to me, authenticity is the next level after law of attraction. I really feel that when we get to the point that we are operating 1,000,000% in our authentic selves, the rest is history, because everything by default will be drawn to us that we need. But the key is to keep working, keep chipping away and working towards that. So I'm loving what's happening. You know, and a couple of videos ago, I talked about two different timelines happening on this planet, and the old structure coming down and the new structure coming up. And when I speak of they, those are the individuals that are trying to hold on to the old. They're trying to hold on to the controlling. They're trying to hold on to being able to manipulate us and to scare us. I don't think they have a chance. I think every day humanity becomes more awakened, more alive, more authentic, and we collectively determine the destiny of where we go. It's really cool. You can see it all happening. Look at our monetary system. I did a video on the spiritual aspect of cryptocurrency, how this may be replacing our monetary system right now. Then you have the shift, you have the Lionsgate portal, you have all this new energy hitting the planet. You have people awakening. You have people now understanding their true potential. You have people now not being afraid to step into that new skin that they're feeling and be this new person, while dealing with the ugliness of what they've had to endure, or dealing with the ugliness of what they've held on in their past. So, my plea to you, and it's not a plea, but I would ask you to just start observing more. Start observing more of the people that you interact with day to day. Start paying more attention to what's going on within you. Don't ever be afraid to ask questions. I ask questions all the time, because what I'm finding is that the more we go through this ascension process, the more we are getting more in line with our true inner nature. Not too long ago, and I think I'll wrap up with this, but not too long ago, I was, I was exercising. I'm on this exercise binge, and I've been exercising 7 days a week for the last 6 weeks. So, And I've been exercising in the hot sun, like 90, 95 degrees, this, that, and the other. And so one evening, I caught a Charlie horse, like in my thigh area, extremely painful. And then I had the voice speak to me. The voice was like, "You're overdoing it. You literally are overdoing it, and you're not drinking enough water." And I promise you, the voice was so clear that I understood it. And I really credit that to the fact that I've been working with affirmations, I've been working with myself, I've been meditating. And these are just the little things that start to take place when we really start to awaken and recognize the true potential of who we are. This is what starts to happen. And you may have things like that happen in your life where you get a feeling, or you might hear something or feel something that guides you to the answer that you're looking for. That's all part of this evolutionary process. And guess what? These things are going to happen more and more. There's a reason why these Marvel comic movies, all these superhero movies that come out always sell out. Because I think collectively, we are starting to embrace a new world where these superheroes actually will exist. To what extent, I don't know. Okay. I don't know if a Superman's really going to fly by my office window here, but I believe that we are already knocking at the door of doing some extraordinary things, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. People are healing themselves. People are healing each other. We have these kids that are coming up that are extremely gifted, that they want to make sure that we medicate so that they don't get to express who they authentically are. So Tommy has an issue with speaking his mind with no filter. Let's put him on medication. And we have to be very aware of what's going on. We really do. We have to be aware. We have to be aware of the different things that are taking place, and understand that there may be an agenda behind it. So pay attention. Pay attention. It's funny. 2021 be 50 years. I think it was 71. Nixon took us off the gold standard. It's a reason for that, people. 50 years. Things are starting to come down. New things are starting to go up. Next month, September 11th, 20 years since 9/11. 20 years. Like, you can't make some of this stuff up. The timing and the precision, if you're really paying attention and you're observing quietly, some of these timelines, they're just too perfect. And again, I don't know everything. I'm just like you, working through it. I feel like we wake up every day and we just work on being the best that we can be with what we have to work with. But there's some interesting things taking place. Very interesting. And the timeline of how they're happening is even more interesting. So I just want to come here. It's about 30 minutes. I didn't want to be here much longer than 30 minutes, but I just wanted to really come here and let you know that, hey, there's a shift happening. The awakening is, it's nonstop. It's nonstop. And if you, again, if you just pay attention, if you just mentally take note, you'll start seeing that things are starting to happen all around you. And if for some reason people are exiting your life without a reason, well, there is a reason. Remember, people are now shifting. What used to connect energetically, especially with you and somebody else, you guys may be frequencies apart, and the contract has now been severed. And everything that I'm learning about, soul contracts, the universe has never put you or me in a situation where whatever takes place in our life was not for the betterment of our soul. Now, we may not understand it in our physical reality, but there's always a reason why things take place in your life and my life. And when you look back, everything has kind of worked itself out. You're still here. Everything will continue to work itself out. So let's have more hope in what we're doing here as a human species. Let's be more optimistic. Let's be a better example. Let's give people space to be who they are and find their own truth while you and I honor our own. And let's just continue to find ways to support one another, because in the end, I am you and you and me, you are me. And the interaction between us individually sets us up for how we interact collectively, which then sets the course that humanity stays on in our destiny. All right. Hey, love and respect. That's my time. And look forward to seeing you in the next video.